analogy. Okay, so these questions are a bit more difficult than rotation and reflection. And they can take a lot more time, especially when you've got a complex shape on the left. The ones we've got here, the examples we've got here, are very simple. Obviously they'll get more complex as we get down the page, but let's start off. So in an analogy question, you're shown two pairs of images. One is incomplete and one is complete. Sorry, I've read that the wrong way around. So the two pairs that they're talking about is pair 1 here, so this is obviously a pair of shapes, and this is pair 2, where the second shape is incomplete. You can see there's a missing option here. What you have to do is you have to figure out what the question mark is supposed to be, and how you do that is by looking at the left option. So it says in each set of images, the first image is changed into the second image by following a rule. So very similar to odd one out and similarities, it's always a rule. You should figure out the rule used and select the image which correctly completes the second step. So we have to figure out what rule is changing shape 1 here into shape 2 by this transformation. And you might think, like, I don't see any similarity here, why would it be a rule? Well, there will be some sort of similarity here, so you have to look for something that is similar between this and this. Again, very similar to the other questions that we were doing in odd one out and similarities. So there isn't much that you can see. These are two very arbitrary shapes. If you count the number of shapes here though, or the number of lines, which is one of the properties, if you remember the mnemonic of never sneak snacks to a crowded picnic, there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that is number from never. So 5 lines here, and there is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squares here. And what happens here is they turn into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines and 5 triangles that are pointing upwards. So if you look at this shape and you count how many there are here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, you can assume there is going to be 7 triangles that are pointing upwards. And I'm going to assume there isn't really any relationship between how tall they are, but I mean the main thing is that there are 7 triangles that are pointing upwards. So that is the rule. The squares turn into triangles and they obviously start pointing upwards instead of being connected in one go. And you can see the caterpillar here has made the same deduction. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, that's what's happened here. If we look at another question here, identify several attributes in the images that could be used to form a rule. So what it means here is there could be one or more things that are happening. It might not just be the number like it happened here, or the shapes changing. It could be the shapes changing and then also they, for example, have a different pattern as well. So you'll have to sort of guess. Okay, so in this example, color, shape, position seem like the relevant features. Okay. So first of all, you want to look for a rule that's changing from left to right. Again, you have to look for a similarity. I can only see color, so I see black is here, grey is here, and white is here. So what I'm going to assume is going to happen to here is it can be the same thing: grey at the bottom, white in the middle, and then black on the top. I'm going to assume it's going to be something like that. It also says mops, so these are some other features that you can have a look at after you've tried these ones. And a 3-layer shape. Yeah, this is basically just explaining what it is. So obviously I think I was right up there. So grey, white and black. So the reason why it's saying, yeah, so these are different sort of things you might have tried out, right? If you thought that maybe it was a shape that mattered. So maybe you thought this rounded meant it would turn into a circle, and then this would turn it into a triangle. Then you would have been wrong with this. And then these are just some other rules that you can come with. But yeah. So another quick example question here. Multiple things are happening on this one. We want to first of all figure out what is the similarity here. So I see that this shape is the same. This trapezium is kept, but it's rotated 90 degrees anti-clockwise. So this is your NVR type 3 skills coming in here. Rotated 90 degrees clockwise. So you can see it's pointing upwards first, and that's pointing left. And also the hexagon is also, first of all, is pointing this way. Actually, probably easier to draw it like this. The top of the hexagon is this way, and then it's pointing this way. So the whole thing is basically rotated 90 degrees. After that, though, what happens is the trapezium takes on the color of this hexagon, and the outer thing changes color, right? So there's two rules there. First of all, I found out that it rotates. So before I apply that to here, sorry, before I look at anything else, I'm going to apply it to this. So I'm going to rotate this 90 degrees and figure out if I can cancel out any options. I can immediately cancel out A because it's got a hexagon instead of a circle, but everything else is actually rotated 90 degrees. We just don't notice any difference because an X and a circle rotated 90 degrees makes no difference, right? This is still pointing up, and then this is pointing the same way, you know. So we've used the first rule. Now let's look at the second rule, which is the shading changes basically. So the inside shape has to take on the color of the outside shape, and that means for this one the inside shape has to take on green, and actually from that you can actually find the answer straight away, and that gives you D. The third rule, sorry, was that the outline has to the outside shape has to become a black outline, which does happen in D, but that would be the same reason as to why you would cancel out E. But that was a pretty simple question. I think we haven't got any other example questions here, but we do have some worksheet questions, and these ones can be very difficult, so I'm going to go through a few of them now. Okay, let's do question 17. I've picked out randomly, and just get started. One thing we can see from left to right is that the arrow is facing the other direction now. So it's been reflected, meaning what I'm going to do here is I'm going to reflect this base shape, because that's sort of the big chunky shape in the middle. I'm going to reflect that across this line, and actually because it's symmetrical, it won't actually be reflected at all. It will just look exactly the same basically, but we can cancel out some of the options that have not got the right shape. So B is upside down for some reason, so we've cancelled that out. Let's have a look at what else is changing. In reality, actually, it just looks like nothing else has happened apart from a reflection. If you look at the arrows, they're all doing the right thing as if they were reflected across a horizontal line. Right, you can see this exact same position. So what's going to happen here is we just need to figure out what option here is a perfect reflection of here. So I'm going to point out some of these. So this should be, when we reflect, it should be pointing this way. When we reflect these ones, they should be pointing this way. When we reflect this, it should be pointing outwards. Everyone seems to be doing that apart from E. E is pointing the wrong direction. What else have we got? Yeah, D is pointing the wrong direction. This arrow should be facing that way. So we're left with C and A. Let's see if we're missing any other arrows. So I'm going to look at the difference between C and A. I see that this one has got an arrow going straight down the middle, and so does A. This one, so this diagonal line, this diagonal arrow, should be like that. but that's not here on C, but it's here on A, so that means the answer is A. That wasn't too difficult of a question. It was actually basically just a reflection question, but hidden in an analogy question. Okay, we'll do question 18 as well here. This one seems pretty simple. Nothing changes here apart from adding on a new shape, which is a parallelogram. So it's a parallelogram that is striped. So something that is striped is definitely going to get added on here. Oh, okay, I see what's happening here. So because there's 4 diamonds here, it's given us a 4-sided shape in the middle. So if there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, there's going to be a 6-sided shape in the middle, probably a hexagon. So I'm going to cancel out C, I'm going to cancel out D. We're left with a few options here. I'm not going to go with B because it's got the wrong pattern, and A, the pattern is going the wrong direction, so I think the pattern has to be going this way, right? So I'm going to circle the answer as E. Okay, I'm going to pick out one more random question. Hopefully I find a more difficult one. Okay, we're going to do question 13. This one I think is quite difficult. You see some of these questions quite often where they've got these grids and they've got loads of different things that could be happening in the analogy. How I do these grid questions is I'll usually look at what is changing. So first of all, to me, I can already see that a grey box, these 2 grey boxes are turning black here. So I'm going to just apply that rule immediately. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn all of these grey boxes into black. And I can cancel out A because this should be black, this should be black. I can cancel out B because this isn't black. I can cancel out C because this isn't black. So I'm left with D and E. Alright, now the grey boxes, the black boxes here turn grey, meaning these 3 should turn grey. So we've actually got our answer right there, because this is, although it's grey, it's got a weird pattern on it. E is the only one that's got these 3 greys. If we just carry on there just to double check if we're doing it right, so all the horizontal lines, they turn vertical. So let's see if any horizontal lines in this one. There isn't. All the vertical lines here seem to turn horizontal. So these lines should turn horizontal, and we've got that in E as well. But yeah, if we finish it off with that, we'd have the same answer. That was another pretty easy one, so I'm going to try question 12. Okay, so here, from left to right, what's happening is this box, this sort of broken box, seems to be fitting together in one joint. So first of all, I'm going to fix this. This is going to be a fixed box, not D because it's marked. It's got the wrong, it should be a straight line, wrong pattern there. What else happens is this hexagon gets bigger, and then it puts a heart inside. So what's going to happen here is this left thing is going to get, this trapezium is going to get bigger and have the star inside. So I can cancel out A because it's not a star, cancel out C because it's the wrong star, and now we're left with E and B. Okay, the only difference between E and B is one is grey and one is white, and you can see actually in here the inside shouldn't turn grey, it should stay white, or at least that's what it looks like. Yeah, so that gives us the answer of B. Okay, now I'm going to check all my answers. So it's 12, 13, 17 and 18. I'm going to pull up the answer scheme. So question 17 here, we've got the right answer as we chose A, and again it's basically just, it says inverted horizontally. I think it's the same way, another way of saying it's reflected vertically. Question 18, so rule number 1 is an inner shape is introduced to a number of corners with equal number of diamonds. So yeah, like we did before, it has to be a hexagon in the middle. And so what does it say? Oh, what it was, the second rule is that the inner shape has to be filled with downward diagonals. So the answer is E here, and that is what we chose. So Go back to the answer scheme. 12 and 13, E and E. Same thing. There we go. So we've got them all right. Hopefully that was a useful video. I'll see you in the next one.